There are silent heroes among us. We see them every day. We see them on our way to work, at the grocery store, at the gym. They could be our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends, our parents. These are the people that have lived lives we know very little about, that have overcome challenges and obstacles we couldn't even imagine, and have learned great lessons through their struggles that, when shared, have the power of changing other people's lives and ultimately bringing us all closer together. Collective Conversations, Everyday Heroes, Extraordinary Stories is an opportunity for us to hear those stories from those silent heroes. Hi, welcome. My name is Joseph Nicholas Massey. This is the Collective Conversation series, Everyday Heroes, Extraordinary Stories. I created this podcast with one purpose in mind: to give the everyday heroes, the folks that we see every day but never get a chance to really hear their stories, an opportunity to share their stories, to remind us that we're all called to the hero's journey. Some of us answer that call, some of us don't. Every guest on this podcast has answered that call, including my next guest, Samantha Maurice. Please stay tuned. You are not going to want to miss her story. Should we start with a little?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing
Yes.
this. We've been trying to make this happen for a long time.
Yeah, I've known you for 2.5 years.
Has it been 2.5
October made 2 years, because I'll be at United Against Poverty November 21st will be 2 years.
Wow.
So I met you in October when I took the STEP program before they hired me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. All right. So let's start where we met, and then we're going to get into the Breaking Chains ministry, Recovery Church. We're going to get into all that, but let's start how
we met. Yeah.
First.
Long time ago. Scared to talk, scared to stand in front of someone and speak or tell my story.
Yeah.
That was the first time we met.
Yeah, so we met at
United Against Poverty. Yeah.
Which I tell you every time.
Yeah.
It's like a slice of heaven in there.
It is. We give people hope.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I have to thank my mother-in-law, my former mother-in-law. We're still all family, but she does some of the fundraising for. Okay. And she gave my name to Matt because they were looking for someone to help in their interviews to their presentation training, and she knew what I did, and so I met with Matt, and then.
So that's how we have you.
Yeah, that's how we first started.
So you were grandfathered in when I came in to facilitate. They gave me full reins to make the schedule, and you were one that I was like, how do we keep them? They said, Samantha, you can keep who you want.
Yeah.
Get rid of who you want.
Yeah.
And you were one that was an indefinite that we keep.
So what was the first, so I came in.
So you came in and you facilitated,
and
yes.
you were part of.
I was one of the participants in the STEP program, the Success Training Employment Program, looking for different work. Was new in recovery. I think I had a little over a year sober, and I was working at an AC company, and I was okay with it, but I wanted to do something more. I knew there was more to my life. So my husband went through the STEP program at United Against Poverty, and he suggested that I take the program. I wanted to go work at Piper. I wanted a full-time career. I wanted to be able to pay child support. I wanted benefits, and I wanted to retire. So Piper was it. I was in the cohort. We call it a cohort, and it's a 4-week class. And one of the guest facilitators was you, and you came in with amplified authenticity, and had no idea what it was, no idea what we were doing, but in my transformation in life, you just do the uncomfortable. And you asked us to get up and who distilled a value in us that we took. And man, still get choked up about the woman that I chose, Miss Lori from Breaking Chains.
We thought that might happen.
Yeah, can't talk about her without complete gratitude.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, and knowing that who I was in Breaking Chains and where I wanted to go, and her wanting me to speak about breaking chains in the ministry, I knew that I needed to stand up and do your exercise of public speaking and being okay with it and taking advice. And so yeah, I got to stand up in front of the class of 30-something people and tell a little bit of who Miss Lori was to me, what value she gave me. And yeah, and I just loved it. I knew the growth that I got from it. Watching another young lady that was in the class with me, Vashante, who now works at United Against Poverty, I think a lot of that had to do with us having that opportunity to stand in front of the class, but also be able to interview properly. So that's how we met. And then United Against Poverty decided to hire me as a success coach. So I got to bring you back, and you are my favorite guest facilitator. I just love watching you work with the participants and you giving the feedback and watching them change literally right in front of my eyes. And it's even better to watch the ones that are in recovery as myself, to have somebody believe in them and to let that light bulb come on that, we're still people, we're still valuable, we still have talents, we still have gifts, and we just need someone to help us bring it out. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say this every time. I feel fortunate to be able to be a part of their process. Everyone that goes through that program, I say this all the time, they're like Jesus's people.
We are.
I mean, this is Jesus,
Yeah.
And they're so ready, and the podcast is Everyday Heroes, Extraordinary Stories.
Yeah.
And every person in there is a hero.
Yeah, there's some stories that come through there.
Yeah, and that's why you're here. Because you said you said you knew there was something else. The AC job was fine, but you knew there was something else, and that's the call.
Yes.
Like so many of us know, like there's something else, but many of us don't answer the call.
Right.
Or we put the call on hold, or we think the caller has got the wrong number. So we keep hanging up on them.
Yeah, I like that.
But
I like
here's
that.
the truth. The call never stops, and it can almost be tormenting.
It really is.
And I think that's why some people will turn to drugs, alcohol, sex, relationships, because they're like, this call, it's terrifying. I don't even know what it is, but it won't leave me alone. But you can't snuff it out.
No, I think too, the fear of failure, the fear that we're not good enough, the fear that I'm going to mess it up, the fear of self is really what makes a lot of people not listen to that call. I can honestly say that if I didn't have God doing this today, really scared, nervous, but I just know I prayed before and on the whole way here, God, just let me be your vessel. Use me. Whatever I'm supposed to say, let it be. I don't know if I'm supposed to go far back to childhood, addiction, relationship, parents, whatever you want me to say, just let it glorify your kingdom. And he has led me to open my mouth and speak when I need to, whatever message, whatever group of people, whatever needs to be used, stay completely out of Samantha. Samantha cannot do things right. If I ask for God, he will,
Because that is exactly it.
He will lead me to.
Yes, and it sometimes it makes no sense. And it's like, really? Okay, I'm compelled. I am compelled.
Yeah.
And it comes, I mean, you've kind of seen the way I work.
Yeah.
Like, it's different every time. Why? Because there's different people's, different souls in that room, and they need something different, and we just go there.
Right.
And you cultivate that also.
Yeah.
Like, they have so much respect for you, as do I.
Thank you.
As do I.
Thank you.
That's why you're here.
Thank you.
I have been a witness.
It's been
to you.
Yeah.
And it has been. I am just so proud and impressed by you, and like you're just getting started.
That's the cool, scary part, I was just talking to my boss, Matt Tanner, and I'm funny. I think I'm funny. I'm really funny. So I said to him, I was, my 2 years coming up. And he says, can you believe you've been with us that long? I said, can you believe that same girl that started 2 years ago, afraid to do morning motivation, afraid to have a voice, afraid to change anything, afraid to, all of it was scary to me. And you guys took a huge leap of faith. And he says, now it's your whole program. Now you're the one that just navigates the whole process. And I look and I'm like, man,
Yes.
this is my life.
Yes.
And it gets better.
Yes.
That's the incredible part is
Yes.
in a small period of 2 years, 3 years since I've been sober. But really 2 years at United Against Poverty, what that job has done for my life, and it's just that and breaking chains, Miss Lori putting God in my life, and then having the platform of United Against Poverty to stand on and be a voice and get comfortable with who I am and telling my story and being relatable and just letting God use me. It's just, here I am sitting on a podcast. This is wild. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were speaking about the word fear has come up like already 27 times.
Yeah.
And what I find is like people think you have to wait till you're not afraid anymore to start. It is the exact opposite. Like I love that definition of courage, and you've heard me say this and you live this. Mm-hmm. It is not waiting for the fear to stop. Courage is moving into the fear, despite it.
Yes.
It just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It never goes away. You don't think I was a little nervous coming here doing this?
That made me feel better too, by the way.
Of course. It's for me, it's nerves, but it's also an excitement. I really feel like I'm called to be a vehicle and create a platform for people's stories and to help them tell them.
Right.
Because what you just said, by the way, you're going to see, we're going to get comments like the fact that you were so scared, you had no voice, you had you knew there was something, you know how many people that resonates with?
Really?
Like, look at her.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember sitting at, so Comfort Zone, AC and Heating is the place that I was working. And Lori.
Comfort Zone that's not the name of the place.
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, Comfort Zone AC and Heating is the name of the AC company that I was working at.
Oh my goodness. So you literally moved out
of my comfort zone.
It's
pretty neat because my husband always used to tell me, get out of your comfort zone. And I'm like, but it's Miss Lori. Miss Lori owns Comfort Zone. So she hired me to work at her business because I was doing landscaping when I first got sober, which, by the way, was my most favorite job that I've ever had in my life.
You were landscaping?
Yes.
Actually?
Yeah. 2 weeks sober. Needed a job. Didn't know what to do. Needed to pay rent. I was living in a sober living house and was landscaping. I started in the middle of July. I think it was like the weekend after July 4th.
Middle of July in Florida.
It was the best job that I've ever done.
Tell me why.
Coming from 9 years of, at the time it was probably 7 years of bad choices, drug addiction, homelessness, bad boyfriends, just the whole lifestyle, not working, fear of a failure in a job. So I just settled for the first thing that came, and it was landscaping. So it taught me routine, structure, to get up and go to work every morning. But I didn't have to stand in front of people. I didn't have to talk. I would literally go to work, put Christian music in my ears, sweat out all the negative, and just run an edger all day long. I was in the best shape. And there's nothing more beautiful than walking around a $4 million house and edging their gardens, green grass, on the beach, and then turning around and being like, I did that. Instant gratification.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. But it didn't pay the bills. Yeah. And then Lori came to me after 7 months of me working there, and she says, baby, you're just too pretty to do landscaping. I need you in the office. And I was, okay, I'll do whatever, Lori. Anything. I trust Lori with my whole heart. She would never steer me wrong. She just wants what's best for me. And I thought, okay, maybe this is where I need to be. And I get to work next to her. I mean,
So Lori owned the landscaping?
No, not the landscaping, but she owns Comfort Zone AC and Heating.
So how did Lori know you? How did she?
When I first got sober, I had went to church, Freedom Church. I was 2 weeks sober. Went on a Sunday, met a woman, Sandy, who prayed for me, and I was scared. I had no idea what she was doing. I had heard of God when I grew up. I went to church at my grandma's house maybe 4 times. My dad said our prayers when we went to sleep at night. I knew what God was. I had no idea what he was capable of, no understanding. Just, you say your prayers and go to sleep. That's what it was. So I went to church. In 2022, a woman prayed for me, and she was supposed to go on a Christian retreat with Breaking Chains Women's Ministry. She had hip surgery and couldn't go, so she wanted to gift it to me. She saw this new girl. She wanted to gift it to me. I went home and cried to my dad, and I'm like, I'm not going on this retreat with all these old little ladies that are just going to tell me how wrong I am. And he says, little girl, you're going. And I was like, I'm really not. I'm really not going. And he says, yes, you are. And then Miss Lori does a night of elegance at the retreat. So we had to do dress fittings. She buys dresses for all the girls who can't afford dresses. And the first time I met her, I walked into the room where all the dresses were. And I heard, hey, baby, how are you? She's never met me a day in my life. I was about 3 weeks sober, and the way she loved me, unconditional. I'm sure you could tell by, maybe she couldn't. She's an honest soul, but I felt that she could have looked at me and said, this girl's a mess. Lost her kids. Yeah. So she just, that's how I met her. So she knew that I was landscaping. I did end up going to the retreat. It was the best thing that I had ever done in my life. I am a faithful retreat goer. So that's where I met her. So she knew that I did landscaping. I started going to the ministry every Monday night. 7 months later, after her whole family met me, she became my mom, and her biological daughter is completely okay with that. And she says, Mom, that's the girl we need to have working in the office. So Lori offered me the job to work at Comfort Zone. And I did that for 9 months. And I used to sit in their office, and I don't know anything about ACs, and nor do I want to know. But I did it with my whole heart because Lori loved me, and I had to do it for her. And this feeling in my stomach was always, there's more to me. I should be doing more. God did all this in my life. I should not be sitting in an AC company asking people for $25,000 for a new AC. Like, that's just not.
Yeah.
But I loved her to death, so I just went with it.
Can I just highlight that
Yeah.
too? Because I work with a lot of leaders, and there's always these processes for management and all these things. But what you just said, which was, I had no interest in AC. I did it with my whole heart.
Yeah.
Because she loved me.
Yeah. I just wanted what was best for her.
People will die for you.
Yeah.
When you see them and care for them in a way that honestly they deserve.
Yeah.
Instead of these performance reviews. And I'm not saying all that stuff is not important.
Right.
But with that, anything is possible.
Right.
And that's like a perfect example. And I want to comment on this because this is, I think comfort zones, and I'm guilty of this too, have a bad name. But you know what? Sometimes we just need a safe place to land.
Right. And that was my comfort zone.
We need a safe place first in order to feel like, okay, I have room to fail here. Like, I'm not going to be thrown out. I can try these things. And that's like the fertile ground to say yes to the call. I think sometimes we
looking at it after you say that makes a lot of sense, because she gave me that, working there gave me that sense of, okay, I'm a productive human being. Like, I've held a job before my life fell apart. I owned a restaurant. I raised 3 kids. There was a part of my life that I was a really good human being doing the right thing. But after 8 years and not doing so, that fear of not knowing what to do. So yeah, being at Comfort Zone was definitely a part of me saying, okay, I can show up to work on time. I can dress professional. I can be professional on the phone. I can handle life and customers and
I love that.
The epiphany just went off.
Yeah, it's helpful for me too, because it ties into what and you've heard me say this, probably not a ton in the work that we've done, but you've heard me say this even when people are about to speak. you gotta breathe,
Yeah.
and you gotta pause, and you gotta slow down. Like, I really feel like that practice creates a safe space
It does.
to just slow down. Like, you had an opportunity, like, your nervous system could just settle.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't in survival mode.
Right.
Somebody's got my back. I'm getting paid. Like, I'm accepted here. And then it's like, then you can start to hear, wait a second, this is great,
Yeah.
but there's something else.
Yes. And that's what I listened to for like 6 months. And I just couldn't tell her.
You start thinking about your,
I
your
just
escape
couldn't tell her.
plan.
Yes, I just
Yes.
couldn't tell her. But I also didn't have a plan B. So I knew there was more, but what was more? Yeah, and then
So, yeah, tell me about that. Did you
So-
wait for a plan B, or did you take the leap?
so my husband now, at the time he was just my boyfriend. He's in recovery. He has sober living houses, works with 43 men plus on a daily basis. And if you ask him for advice, you ask him for help, about the third time, if you haven't taken it or done something to change, just don't bring it to him anymore. Because the answer, do something about it or don't, and be okay with it. So I think he was tired of me. Hey, how's your day? Ugh. I was just never, it was never upbeat. It wasn't all negative, but it just was nothing.
Same old, and you were stuck.
I definitely was. And he sent his guys at the sober living. When he got sober, he went through the STEP program at United Against Poverty. So 8 years later, sober living houses, he sends his guys through the STEP program. And he told me, he says, you should take this STEP program at United Against Poverty. And I'm like, well, how am I going to do that and go to work? And at this time, this was in September, because we had just moved in together. So it was like a year and a half of us dating. I had just moved in with him. And I said, I didn't get sober to quit my job. I didn't get sober to take a part-time job. And he says, well, I'll support you. That was not in my plan. I had done that for so many years with guys supporting me and helping me. So now I have to trust this new relationship, trust this person isn't saying this maliciously.
Right, took for control.
Yes. So I called my dad again. Dad, what do I do? And he says, there's a difference. He loves you. You're in a different place. He says, take his advice, let him support you. So I went to Lori, told her I was going to go down to part-time, take the STEP program, work part-time at Comfort Zone. But they needed to, if my goal was to leave and go to Piper, they needed to replace me. So I had to put in the day that I was going to quit or stop working. I don't like to say quit because I never quit on her. Yeah. So I gave her my end date. It was October 21st, and took the STEP program. And at the end of it, so my husband is the one that led me to take the STEP program, and gave me the idea about Piper. And the reason why I say Piper is because my dad worked at Pratt Whitney with airplanes. So why not follow in the family footsteps? Job security, it's not going anywhere. Retirement, benefits, full-time work. That's all I was looking for. And they weren't hiring. So I graduated the STEP program, and Piper was not hiring. I had given my last day notice to Lori at Comfort Zone, and I was without a job. No job the day of graduation. And I just didn't know if I made the right choice, didn't know. And that's where I just had to believe that God had a plan for me. The day of graduation, I was going to walk out the door, and my now boss, Minta, asked me, she says, where is it that you want to work? And I said, I want to work at Piper. She says, you're too pretty for Piper. How about you work here?
That's the theme.
Miss Lori, landscaping, too pretty for Piper. And I'm like, but I'm not.
Not too pretty for United Against Poverty.
I'm like, I like nice things, but my dad raised me. I'm a little bit of a tomboy. I'm not too pretty for nothing. The biggest compliment, yes. And just having to trust the process. Minta is my boss, and she is tough. And I know that now, and looking back and hearing her stand in that door and tell me that then and offer me a job at United Against Poverty was probably one of the biggest compliments that I could have ever had. She doesn't, she's just tough.
Yeah.
And for her to offer me that was an amazing accomplishment. But they told me no. When I filled out the paperwork, my husband's on the board at United Against Poverty, so they didn't want to hire me. It was a conflict of interest. So trusting in the process, that God knew what he was doing, wasn't going to work there. Another woman that works there reached out to my husband and said, tell her to just hang in there. There's some things working in the back offices that it'll work out for her. She's just got to hang in there for a month, maybe a little longer. So a year and a half sober, just moved in with my boyfriend, no job, letting him support me, not having a clue of what I was going to do, just walked out on Miss Lori in Comfort Zone, went through this STEP program, and here I am, still sober, but like this isn't this wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't part of the plan at all. And then I got a phone call probably early November, and the woman that had said no to hiring me had been fired. And they said, welcome to the team.
Wow.
So
wow.
Staying, and I still went in and visited. Still, I was working with my husband and bringing his guys to the next class, so they still got to see me, still built that relationship. And then they hired me, and I've been there since.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so November 21st was my first day. Yeah.
Such a lesson, because I think, we sometimes get so, I'll say hell-bent on this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And you're banging your head against the wall. You're like, this isn't happening. And then when you're like, let me just let this go and see what unfolds. Like, could you imagine you're at Piper, and then someone comes up to you, you're too pretty.
Yeah, I'm too pretty for Piper.
And also, you were taking that job for all the safety.
All the wrong reasons.
Like secure, I'll get benefits, as opposed to
everything that God's supposed to provide for me.
Right.
I'm not supposed to provide them things for myself.
Yes, and you really trusted and stayed open.
Yeah.
And that's such a important lesson.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I forget her name, but it was the last cohort, and she wanted to be a security guard. Remember?
Yes.
And she's like, then she was so, and then I, reminded her of that song. I think it's a Garth Brooks song, like "Thank God for Unanswered Prayers."
Yes.
Because when truly one door opens, if you're not only hyper focused on that one door, because then you miss the other doors that might be open. Like you could have said, sorry, I don't want, the up thing. It's great, but I'm really waiting.
So when they asked, I said, well, what are you going to hire me for? And they said, you have one of two choices. You can either work in the development side, and that's taking in all the money and processing it, or you can be a success coach and replace Rex, the facilitator that was there. And I really had to, I said, I don't know. I don't think I'll be good at either. So you tell me where I need to be. And that they chose to put me as a success coach. And it was God doing for me what I could not do for myself, because at the same time I was sitting there in an office at Comfort Zone, miserable, knowing that there was a purpose, scared to death to step into this. If I would have known all the details about what a success coach was, and doing morning motivation and facilitating the class and being the face and I probably would have said no. That fear would have scared me, but I knew I was supposed to be doing it.
Oh my goodness. I wish people could see you in action, because you are so you own that role.
And I'm nervous every day when I go and do it.
You see?
Every day.
Because you have to keep people accountable.
I have to keep.
And you have to keep people who are going through a lot, and maybe boundaries aren't their happy place. You've got to keep it structured, boundaried, and that's really hard.
It is, and it's life is lifey. A lot of people look at it. Things are hard, but they don't have to define the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And I think if you can, whatever your past is, mine just happens to be addiction and loss of kids and bad choices and jail time. So how can I use that for the good and not let it define me? I'm a convicted felon, aggravated domestic violence, attempted murder on my background. Where else can I use that, to change somebody's life? but I can't let it, is it
Define.
sad? Yeah, it's sad. It's a part of my bad choices, but at the same time, I'm so much more relatable now. So I have to be okay with that. I have to be able to say, I'm Samantha, and DCF came in and took my kids, and my rights are permanently terminated, and you'll never have your children again. Being in a place to be able to speak about that and let people know that, okay, I still have a job. I have a really good job. I come in every day and I'm happy. And it all comes back. I've gotten everything back that I've lost. Absolutely everything that was taken from me 8 years ago, I have gotten back. From kids to relationships to family to everything has been restored.
Wow.
Tenfold.
See, I love what you said before. It's so amazing. Because I know people are like, she's a convicted felon. What?
Yeah.
She's too pretty to be.
Yeah, exactly. Well.
Too pretty to be a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, but I love how you said that God's doing things that you can't do.
Yeah.
Can you, what does God do? What you can't do? Because I know what that means.
Yeah.
And it's a very difficult thing to describe, because we can go to therapists, we can go to counselors, we can do all the things, but there's something that we can't transform without God.
So in this moment, and how I would describe that, because I think every situation and whatever conversation, it could be different. So I feel I'm in recovery. So you'll hear us say a lot, God doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. And that's pretty much almost everything. Any good choice, any right choice, he's the one that's going to plant that seed for us. He's going to open that door. It's whether we listen to it or not. Sometimes we know the right thing to do and we don't, because our heart wants to do something different. Our flesh wants to do something different. But he'll do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. So he's going to shut that door at comfort zone. I was dedicated to Lori. I was dedicated all day to Lori, and my husband had to plant that seed and stay on me. It was either I'd probably lose my relationship if I kept complaining about comfort zone. So he planted that seed of the STEP program to shut that door at comfort zone to let me move on. And Lori's still there. If she loves me, she'll still be there. She'll still support me. He'll just open doors for us that we'll never open for ourselves. I knew there was more to me. I knew that I had a voice. How was I going to use it? Where am I going to use it? What am I going to do with it? And putting me at United Against Poverty has changed my life and given me that voice. I mean, I've met you, and here I am just being able to speak. And being at United Against Poverty and working there, he's opened those doors to put me on a platform to speak in front of people, be comfortable with a small 40 room classroom. Comfortable with that, to then grandfather me into being campus lead at Recovery Church, to stand in front of 100 people and be the campus lead, and all eyes on me, which I don't do well. I don't like to be center of attention. I get real nervous. But God doing for me what I cannot do for myself. I would have never stepped up to that plate. I would have never. Never.
Wow. So I just want to pinpoint this, because when we look at the hero's journey, because that's what I honestly see, we're all called to that, all of us. And like I said, we either choose to listen, mute it, hang up, put on hold, and there's not just one call,
Right.
And the way that Joseph Campbell describes it's like the call. So either you're gonna take this call or not, and if you don't, things are gonna stay the same.
Yeah.
Right? They may even get worse.
Probably.
Right? Then once you then it's what he refers to as the descent. Now you're in it.
Yeah.
Now the stuff, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. Wait, I have to do that? And usually there's a guide, Miss Lori, or it could be your boyfriend, your husband at the time. It could be, pick your person. There's not just one that shows you the way through this muck.
Yeah.
And then after you make it through, there's the return.
Right.
And again, then there'll be another call, another descent, another return. what we're doing here is a lot of the return.
Yeah.
Like what you've gleaned over this 2.5, 3 years has been a journey, the heroic journey that you've been on. And now you're returning, you're giving back.
On the way here, I'm driving in the car and I'm like, so I've done one other podcast. I do everything, I'll speak for Breaking Chains. I'll speak at Recovery Church, did a podcast with Pastor George. It's always with somebody, something that I support, that I'm very active in, that's changed my life. And as I'm driving here, I'm like, I'm by myself. Like, this is all me. So when you say the return, this is 3 years later. This is the return. Here I am, just Samantha Maurice, who's sitting here and been through A, B, C, and this is exactly where I knew I should be, and it's almost so surreal. Like, I knew I should have been here, but it's so weird that I'm sitting here.
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I heard this thing the other day, which is so beautiful. Like, right now, we are the memory of our future self, and that the call is there because it's already happened.
Yeah.
And you're just being drawn to it.
Right.
It's this call thing is I'm obsessed with it because I know so many people who are being called and they're not listening. And it's destroying them.
And
it goes back to that, if I might. That and I'm going to destroy this, but the Saint, is it Thomas? Yeah, I think St. Thomas talks about if we allow what is within us to be expressed and used in our life, it will save us.
Correct.
If we do not, if we prevent what is within us to be expressed, it will destroy us.
Absolutely.
And I think that's like, there's a tie in there between obsessive behavior, between addiction. It's like, because we don't have the outlet, it's destroying us.
Right. I 100% agree. As I said, the things that I've been through, and in the participants that I get to work with, their past, it can define you in a positive or a negative way. How are you going to choose to let it?
Yes.
So the call, if you don't use it, God let us go through. We chose it. We went through it. He brought us out of it. So use it. How can you change? How can you change one person's life? What can you do with it? You can't let it go to waste.
Yes.
It's already ruined so much of who I was. It's not going to ruin anymore. So how can I take it and use it to benefit? And it has been a process. I'll say the biggest part of it, as I said, I didn't know what God was. The biggest part was Lori telling me, you are forgiven. He forgives you. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I asked him to take that away from me. I'm a recovered alcoholic. He has taken that desire to drink. So move on. You can tell your story of where you've been from, but you can't relive your story every time you tell it. It has to be a part of what you did, what you went through, and this is what you're doing now. And forgiveness, knowing that he has forgiven me, it doesn't matter if my dad does, my parents, my sisters, my kids, it doesn't matter who forgives me. He does, and I have forgiven myself because he told me I needed to. I can't call him a liar, right. So might as well forgive myself. Yeah. And it's taken time. When I first spoke about Lori through your class, I was in tears, and it was really hard to bring it back in. 3 years later, I was never able to talk about my kids without crying, because the pain and the hurt and the suffering and not talking about it. The more you talk about something, the easier it is to talk about. The more you hear people's opinions and thoughts, and you get to process your own opinions and thoughts and be more okay with it. And ownership. You know, I can say it was the boyfriend's fault. I can say my mom was an alcoholic. I can say it was my friends that I chose. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I can only clean up my side of the street. So what did Samantha do? What could Samantha do? What can she do? What is she willing to do? And he forgives me, and great. So now how do I use this? It took a long time to get all that, to understand it. Lori has been pivotal in me, in the person I am today. I think it would have been a lot slower of a process. And also, I have an amazing dad who loves me
Yeah, I was going to ask you,
unconditionally.
keep talking about your
My
dad, and
dad
it sounds
is
like you have a
just-
great relationship with him.
He is, oh my gosh, 6'4", 250 pounds.
Wow.
Married the first woman that he ever loved, who was my mom. They had 2 little girls. My mom had never drank. And when I was 2, she decided she wanted to go get a job, and she started working as a waitress. She found alcohol, and she started cheating on my dad. And then she left us. So my dad was a single dad with 2 daughters, 2 and 3 years old, working second shift at Pratt Whitney, brand new house that he had just bought for my mom. Obviously the family, but he bought it for my mom. And so he was a single dad at, 20-something years old, 2 little girls, 2 and 3 years old. We were 16 months apart, and he did it by himself. I always thought it was by himself, but all the guys that he worked with at Pratt Whitney, their wives helped, and it was a team effort. And I say that because that affected me later down the road when I became a single mom. If my dad could do it, I can do it. If my dad could, but I didn't see the help that he had, so I never asked for help. And it just, history repeats itself if you don't ask questions. But so yeah, he raised us. Man, did we run him through the ringer? I sit back and I think, he can't be that dumb. And did he just not say anything? Did he not know that what we were doing? Was it easier for him to just say, okay, we'll let him? I think, I think he just worked so
I
hard.
was going to say, he was so focused on providing.
He was so tired. We lived up north. And this is something that I've really started to think about the past 6 months, and I need to ask him. Now he's living his best life traveling. So I'm going to see him next weekend, and I have to ask him. We lived in Connecticut, and we used to sneak out of the house in high school, out the windows of our bedroom, in the middle of the snow. You mean to tell me when you left from work, you didn't see our feet prints? So, as I sit back.
Or he saw him, he's like.
Yeah, but the most amazing dad, I'll tell you, my life kind of, it really fell apart in 2018, and that's when it really got bad. But he never, ever gave up on me.
Wow.
Never. Loved me unconditionally. And I say all that to say, got sober, had a devotional that Lori gave me, and one day I opened it up, and it says, how do you compare your earthly father to your heavenly father? And that's when the light bulb went on. If God loves me, and he loves me more than anybody and unconditional, and I know what my dad loves me, and put that on steroids times 10,
Right.
it was just so easy for me to comprehend who my heavenly father was. And then my dad, my earthly father, believes in me, loves me, trusts me, supports me, all these wonderful things. And he does that times 1,000,000, and he can make miracles happen.
Yeah.
The light bulb just went on, and here I am. That just made so much sense to me.
It was like a great training wheels, Dad, to get you ready.
Yes.
Like, to actually believe. Because
Yeah.
I know, now my dad, incredibly devoted, came from a provider generation, was very present. And I can absolutely resonate with, like, the forgiveness, because that was, like, the hardest part for me, was, like, forgiving me,
Yeah.
myself. And once someone like revealed to me that essentially, and now I see the Bible as like a love letter
Yes.
from God. Like once I understood that this whole book is a reminder of how much I am loved.
Yeah.
Like, and then when I look at the cross, I almost weep because I'm like, that's how much we're loved. Like,
Yeah.
someone will die for us.
Yeah.
So that I can totally relate.
Yeah.
Like that experience, it sounds like very similar. It's so hard to forgive ourselves, but when we do,
It's life-changing.
Yeah, and I think that's what's also really powerful and why I'm doing this is because people can hear what other people have done and have found their way to forgiveness. It's like, you know what? Maybe I need to do that.
Yeah, we definitely have to. Forgiveness is, and you hear God says that we're supposed to forgive from the east to the west. You're just, and forgiveness and recovery, they teach us that forgiveness isn't for the other person. The forgiveness is for self.
Right.
And the hardest person to forgive is self. But if you, it stunts our growth if we don't forgive.
Yeah.
If I wake up every morning and say, oh, you lost your kids. Oh, you did this. Oh, you did that. I wouldn't have the confidence or the motive to come and breathe life into someone else.
Yeah.
I would self-doubt. I'm not good enough. And sometimes I still think that, like, how am I the one that they chose to help people put their lives back together? Do you not know? Do you not know the choices? Do you not? But then again, look at the life that I've built for myself.
Yes.
So why not me?
Absolutely.
There's
the return.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have the courage and the faith to go through the journey. When you're the return, people know, and they're like, I need that person for X, Y, and Z. You don't know what it is, but you're in the return, and it's been amazing to witness.
It's fun. It's really cool.
So what is kind of poking at me now is, okay, so you had 3 kids.
Yeah.
You had a restaurant.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. Your mom was in the restaurant business and very interesting. But tell me, quote unquote, good years, right, of this life that you had, and then what happened? If you could. 'Cause I know it's probably a lot of little things.
It is. So I had a few little friends in the neighborhood. My dad was a single dad. We did a lot of camping. We did a lot of time with his friends at work, and it was normal for me to see people drink. It was normal for me to go to my mom's house every other weekend when she had a home and see domestic violence and drinking. So domestic violence was, and my dad never said anything bad about my mom. So I had this life at my dad's house, loved to go to my mom's house every other weekend, spoiled rotten when I was there because she, by her time, and didn't really know that alcohol wasn't okay. It was so normal for me. So I had my first drink 6th grade with a few little girls swimming in a pool. Come high school, definitely drinking on the weekends. Still thought that was normal. Didn't think it was a big deal. Everybody else was doing it. 21, went to the bar. Had my first DUI at 19. That should have been a red flag. But my dad had 4. My mom had 12. So that's what you do. That was my normal. All this was just my normal. So 21, in and out of the bars. Somehow made it home safe. Somehow didn't have a kid with any random person. Still thought it was manageable. Had my first child at 23 or 24 with someone who was 12 years older than me. I should have listened to my dad. I should have listened to my dad all the time. That's first and foremost. That's the most important. Yeah, listen to your parents.
Yeah.
Hindsight is they're always right. I still call him and I'm like, I get it. I know what you mean. Had my first child. When I met the gentleman, he had told me he was in recovery of crack cocaine. I had no idea what that was. I didn't know what recovery was, had no clue. So that's still how young and naive I was. Knew what alcohol was, had the child with him. He disappeared like 2 months, my son was 2 months old. And I called my dad and said, I can't do this, come get me. My dad let me move home with a child, which was the one rule, and you are not coming home with a kid. But he was like, okay, yes, my daughter's finally gonna listen, come on home with your 2-month-old baby. My son was 9 months old. That was miserable, living at home with dad. And he was in Connecticut at the time. So let me move to Florida with my fun mom who drinks, and my little sister's there who were 10 years apart. So I moved down to Florida. My mom's with my 9-month-old baby.
Okay.
My dad broke my dad's heart. Just, he knew what I was doing. He was watching his daughter and his grandson drive to this mess, and he had nothing to do but let me go and learn the hard way. And boy, did I, because that's when life got real tough. You have a parent co-signing everything that you're doing. You know, misery loves company. My mom liked to drink, I liked to drink, and that's when the full-blown, I think that's when the addiction, the alcoholic really came out in me. So lived with my mom, met somebody else, ended up having 2 children with him. So I have 3 children, 2 different fathers, and didn't know, again, still had never messed around with drugs, and he was in recovery too, and found out a little bit after we had 1 child. And now I'm 27 with 3 kids and a full-blown alcoholic in reserves. So knowing that when I drank, he wasn't a nice person. The girl's dad wasn't a nice person. Really mean, verbally abusive to myself and my son. Now also, my dad has taught us, you never let a man put hands on you, and you never let people disrespect you. And let them hit you first, but you make sure you win. Probably not the best advice.
Well,
So I joined the wrestling team in high school, had that under my belt, was really good at it. So fast forward to this gentleman that I have 2 kids with, and he was really mean to my son who wasn't his. And you put a little bit of alcohol in me, and the passion to fight, and here comes domestic violence. And then I'm just a mess. I went to jail 14 times for domestic violence, aggravated attempt to murder. You are not going to treat my child some type of way and me just sit there and be okay with it. DCF cases, I think we had 13 of them together. You know, luckily, by the grace of God, didn't know it was God at the time, never took my children. In 2018, we, there was a lot of mess that happened. Domestic violence was a lot of that 9-year relationship, in and out of jail, domestic violence, drinking.
You and him in
Yeah, no, he
jail?
never went. I was always the one to go.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm
That's
really
like
okay
a
with that,
reversal
because
of-
who I am today and who he is today, I'm so thankful that it was me. Whether it should have been, could have been, I am so thankful that it was me, because it's changed my life.
I bet. What was your longest stay?
6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. That was, and it was for aggravated, he said that I stabbed him with a knife, and then he actually went to court and said that he had lied. So I sat for 6 months for no reason. And it's a charge that still it's aggravated attempt to murder, for a false accusation. So, but it gave, now looking back, it makes me relatable to the people that I'm sitting in the cohort with now, and telling them, if I have this and I got hired and this is my life, so can you. What are you doing to change? Who are you? So it's, wow. I'm thankful.
What
I wasn't
love,
then.
And I did not know this. It's so interesting, right?
Yeah.
You're this kind of like
so nice
timid,
person.
I'm afraid to talk here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're like a fighter.
Yeah.
No, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like, because let's face it, like, life, sometimes you gotta fight. Whether it's for your own life or your children's or whatever.
And there's a happy medium, and that's, it's been a process to...
And I'm so glad you broke that down, because, when someone, I'm sure, hears initially a prison time and aggravated assault, it's like, wow. But the truth is, it was because of the love. Now, alcohol did not help.
Right.
But it was based in a mother bear.
And there was times,
energy.
yes, and I know that because there was times that it happened when DCF was involved, and I had to do outpatient treatment for DCF with CRC counseling. CRC, it's a outpatient rehab that you can do. So I was sober, and it would still take place. So that's when I knew that it wasn't just the alcohol. It wasn't just him. It was a mom protecting her child. He used to tell me all the time, he needs a mom, not a lawyer. And I'm like, no, he needs a lawyer. And he still needs a lawyer. It's the mom in us. It's the parent in us.
Yeah.
So we went through all that. He hard worker. I don't know I can't dissect him and his problems and all that. But, you know, there was times that we were really good and times that we weren't. We owned a restaurant in Sebastian for 3 years and super successful, but you go home and it was World War III, you know, talk about fighting in a kitchen when it's just us two, and it was toxic. And an incident happened with him and my son in 2018. He threw hot water on my son. My son was 9 years old. My two daughters were 2 and 3. So 8, 2, and 3. We were getting ready for work in the morning. And I heard this blood-curdling scream as I'm getting the girls ready in the back of the house. And I come out and my son is soaked. Mommy, Daddy Andy just threw water on me. And I feel him and I'm like, so 2 months before that, I had filed my taxes and knew that I was going to try to leave. I took my son to go look at a trailer. So he knew that I was trying to get out. So I gave him a hug and I whispered in his ear and I said, you know, Mommy's gonna get us out of this. Mommy's gonna get us out of this. And the girls came over and they're 2 and 3, Bubby, Bubby, and I'm hugging them and I'm like, Mom's gonna protect you. I love you guys. And had to pull it back together and take him to school and go to work at this restaurant with him. It was a Thursday night. He had to stay late at the restaurant because we opened late, and I picked up the kids from daycare and school and pulled in my driveway, and it is swarmed with police. And my uncle, not my biological uncle, but he lived next door to my mom all these years, so every time I got in trouble, he was always there to bail me out. He's sitting in my driveway with 6 police officers, and I'm like, what is going on? And I get out, and they took my kids, and they pulled me aside, and they said, you have 1 or 2 options. You either let him come home tonight after work and we take the children, or you tell him he can't come back and you get to keep your kids. All the kids went to school and told the daycare and the teacher what happened. And DCF finally had enough to go on, knowing that our home was toxic instead of this girl just sitting in jail for beating somebody all the time. Now they saw that side of him and were able to come in, God doing for me what I never did for myself, rip this family apart. So that was in 2018. They put a permanent injunction against my son and him, so that meant I couldn't take him back, which is what I needed. Scared to be alone, scared to do it by myself. Who's gonna love me with 3 children? How am I gonna provide for them? We own the restaurant. I needed someone to say this is it, and God did that for me. So I couldn't go back to the restaurant and work because he probably would have killed me since I did this to him and took his daughters from him. In his eyes, it was my fault. So that was 2018, October. He had sold the restaurant, packed up, moved to Ocala. I was a single mom, 3 kids, no job, no nothing, and started dating the local dope boy, a drug dealer. Then October and January 18th of 2019, my house got raided. They were looking for him. They knew who he was. They came beating on my door. He didn't live there. He didn't sell drugs out of there, but they saw him coming in and out. They had him on surveillance in my parking lot. It was an apartment complex. And I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I knew what he was doing. I had no idea about a raid. This was my first time in a big time. You know, I knew the cops. They all knew who I was. This was intense. And I didn't know what to do. I should have said, they said, do you know who this person is? And they held up a picture and they told me his legal name, and I always used to call him by his middle name. So it was Daryl Christopher Ross, and I called him Chris. So when they said, do you know Daryl Ross? I was like, no, you know, what else, that's what you do, you know? So that's when I went to jail for possession of marijuana and possession of drug paraphernalia, and my 3 kids, 2, 3, and 8, off my doorstep. Last time I had custody of them. And spent like 40 days in jail. He bonded me out, was out of jail. My kids are in DCF and foster care. And I didn't want to go back to my apartment because my house had been raided, and I just left it all high and dry. Everything turned upside down, everything. And I started staying at the local Ocean Air Hotel here, where, you know, is drugs and all that lovely stuff. And I got raided again on April 20th. Went back to jail. He went back to jail. We both bonded out. And life just, so DCF gives you 6 months to a 6-month case plan for your children. And in and out of jail within 4.5 months, all these previous DCF cases gave them probable cause to say, we're going to terminate your parental rights. So that's what they did. They hit me with termination of parental rights, and that was in June, I believe, 6 months after January, June, July time. And that's when I was, what do you do now? Like, the girls were in foster care. They were all in foster. The girls were in a foster home in Port St. Lucie with a woman who saw a rash on my daughter's leg one day, and she's not supposed to call me, and she could tell that my girls were loved. So she called me and asked me what it was. That was probably a point in me not giving up all the way on myself, because this lady who didn't know me, who had custody of my children, could tell that they were loved. You know, I battled myself. Am I a good mom? Am I a bad person? Am I this? Am I that? So she had them while their dad was fighting to get them back. So the girls ended up going to live with their dad. My son didn't have his biological father, so the state terminated my rights on him. So technically, to this day, the girls are still legally mine, living with their dad in Ocala, and my son is property of the state. They did come to me a year ago and offer me my rights fully reinstated, and went through court, did everything that I'm supposed to do, and my son chose to go live with my sister because she has a funner life, not a better life, a funner life. Mom's church every Sunday, mom's youth group, mom's A's and B's, mom's dress code, mom's belts, mom's jobs, that's not what a 15-year-old wants to do. So he did go choose to live with my sister, but I accomplished everything that I needed to accomplish for the state to say, here's your son back. So God will give it back to us. So yeah, that was my life. The kids got taken. The girls went to go live with their dad. My son has bounced around 50-something foster homes since 2022. You know, and in that time of 2018 to 2022, it was survival mode. You know, date this person to have a roof over your head, be friends with this person to have this, and drugs and alcohol just were a huge part, but then again, they weren't. I think at this time I really knew alcohol was an issue, and what was I going to do? But I had nobody decent around me. I didn't have a support system, don't have a mom. My dad's in Connecticut, so trying to get a job, have good roof over your head, it's a vicious little cycle. You can't put it all together without having the main piece. So June of 2024, it was my birthday, June 6th. I was dating someone. We got in an argument. I left and went to my uncle's house, came back, and he had a girl in the house. And I was like, this isn't what I want. What do I do different? And walked back to Burger King. Some girl asked me if I knew where an AA meeting was. I don't know what made her ask me. I have no idea. She had a whole life story that she told me, and I told her, I said, I'll go to an AA meeting with you on Friday. Called my dad. He says, what are you going to do if she doesn't show up? I said, I don't know. He says, you're going to go. So June 24th of 2022, I walked into the local Newport Club, which is the main place for AA meetings, and been sober ever since. That's how I ended up going to an AA meeting, because some girl, God doing for me what I was not going to do for myself. I never would have thought, how do I put this back together? So I went to the Newport Club, and a woman stopped me afterwards, and she says, you know, you look new, how can I help you? I said, I need a safe, sober place to live. And she gave me Raul's number, who is now my husband. And he says, I don't have women's houses, but here's a number, and I can pick you up and take you over there if you need. I said, no problem. No, I said, no, thank you. My problem has always been men, and I need to do this on my own. Have a nice day. Click. And that was it. I fought it tooth and nail. I was not going to have a boyfriend. I was going to do this. I was going to put my life back together. Moved into the Oxford house, got my job. Women's sober living here in Vero. I was there for maybe 2 months. It was rough. It was rough living with 12 other women, opinions, and listen, I didn't have a mom. I was not close to women, never had women, and the last thing I wanted to do was be living in a house with, and my dad talked to me, our hands are for helping and not hitting. That was a huge, Miss Lori has taught me that too.
Yeah.
So that was
so women's
sober living.
And then you bridge
that
the gap
didn't
for
work.
me.
That didn't work out for me. They wanted me to. I had started working landscaping, and they wanted a house meeting every Monday at noon. And I told my dad, what do I do? And he says, if you call off of work every Monday, he says, don't ask me for help again. So I went back to that uncle's house. He let me move in there until I found somebody in recovery to rent a room from. So I rented a room from a woman, Stephanie, on Oslo Road for $125 a week, landscaping for $13 an hour, riding my bicycle from Oslo to the Newport Club every day after landscaping, just to get a meeting, every day to Breaking Chains on Mondays. That was my life for 7 months. And then met Lori, or started working at Comfort Zone.
Yeah.
Did that for
the Breaking Chains was the
a part
retreat.
of the beginning. Yeah, was right in the beginning, that first 2 weeks.
The woman who had a hip thing and couldn't go to the Breaking Chains retreat.
That I got to when I was living at the Oxford House. They took me to Freedom Church. That's where I met Miss Sandy, who had the hip problem.
Okay.
Who had the retreat, gifted it to me. I met Lori, got hooked up with Breaking Chains, and the lady Stephanie that I rented a room from was from Breaking Chains. So Breaking Chains has been
it was like
huge,
pulling you.
Yeah. And a whole bunch of women. The one thing I didn't want was a whole bunch of women. God was like, we need an army for this woman here. Here's an army about, 70 women. And they just prayed over me. I thought they were crazy. They told me everything was going to be fixed and God was going to give me this beautiful life. And I just thought they were crazier than
amazing.
But I'll tell you, when it comes to wanting something in life, you better believe the first people I call is Breaking Chains. Listen, I need prayer. These prayer warriors, and miracles happen through the power of prayer in this ministry.
Amazing.
So and dated my husband, moved in with him, dated for 6 months, engaged for 72 days. He proposed to me on the stage at United Against Poverty during graduation.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because they just love him there. So everybody knew it was happening and I had no clue.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then we got married. It was the most beautiful. I never wanted to get married, never saw it happening. Completely the opposite of anything. We never fought. My dad thinks it's crazy. He's never heard me yell.
Wow.
Never heard me yell.
Wow.
Which is, I'm surprised he hasn't heard me, because I don't yell. The worst I ever yell is, where are we going? Up. That's the extent of me yelling,
That's a morning
chant
exercise they do. Where are we going? Up.
Yeah, my voice cracks. I'm like, I can't yell anymore. This,
That morning ritual is, it lights up my day every time. And I'm not even really partaking. I just feel the energy.
Oh, you need to be involved.
I know.
All the way. I'll get you involved.
All right, baby.
Life-changing.
Okay, so
yeah.
that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then it just happened.
Yeah.
Right? Here's what I'd love for you, so as we bring this to a close, can you share where someone should go if they're struggling with addiction, homelessness, or those things? We know United Against Poverty is, like, I tell everybody about that place, and it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast. There's going to be a donate section here, because I want to click and really support this place. It is, people need to go and visit it, and I'm not kidding you. The first time I went, I wept.
Yeah.
Because when I walked in and I saw the grocery store, like the grocery store.
The grocery program.
The grocery program. Like, usually you walk in like it's like a food bank.
Yeah.
And it's like stuff's dumped. There's such dignity in that place.
Yes.
There's such dignity. You walk in, you get a card, there's branded foods, it's beautifully lit, people are taking care of you. Like, it's such a, and then you've got the medical, care services, you've got the training, you've got places for, I think secondhand clothing and like affordable this, that, and people there just loving on people.
So it is, that would be my first go-to. As I said, how do you get a job if you don't have a home? How do you get a home if you don't have this? How do you have an ID? You need an ID. How do you put these pieces together? Unless you meet somebody that has all the answers. United Against Poverty has made it possible for all those pieces to come together all at once. So yes, if you are you walk in and we have access to get you an ID, and we have resources for housing. And whether it's domestic violence, whether it's shelters, whether it's families, whether it's whatever kind of mental health shelter, we have access. We have the resources to give you the phone number and guide you or call for you. You know, we'll never just say here and go do it on your own. We're right there to step by step.
Yeah.
The staff is remarkable. We have the heart for it, and I think that's first, you know. So, and then the member shared grocery program is food, you know. So you've walked in, you've gotten your ID, now you're a person, now you have a sense of belonging. And then we help you find housing if it's possible. And then the food's right there. The food stamp office is right there. Treasure Coast Community Health and Career Source, and then our STEP program. It's the basic fundamentals of rebuilding your life.
Yeah.
And being willing to, it's hard to ask for help. And I think that's what, you know, do I look too pretty to do some things? But once I always share some of my story, this way people know that I'm relatable.
Yeah.
I always start off with, just so you know, I'm in recovery of 3 years for myself. And I've had DCF cases to where they've taken my children. And then I sit down and how can I help you?
That's awesome.
Like, let me just get to the point.
Yeah.
You know, here's a little
Maybe
bit
throw a
about
little
me.
jail time in there. Let's make
you
it
know, I'm
really
not
lit.
this girl just sitting here in a
Right.
coach
Who got
purse
hired,
and
you know,
pretty shirt and
Yes.
nice hair and a little bit of jewelry and my nails done, looking bougie. I'm a person under all this, you know, and I think it gives them a little bit of, okay, so if she can do it,
Oh,
and in a small period of time of 3 years,
yeah.
it's been hard work. It hasn't been hard work. It's been consistent. Consistency has been key for me.
Yeah.
I eat, breathe, and sleep Recovery Church God, Recovery Church God, Recovery, and my job is in there. As hard as I ran, that's as hard as I run for God now.
Yeah.
It's just, so yeah, it would be United Against Poverty should always be the first stop.
And I always like to say this because I think it's true. Like, I've heard this and I've experienced it. We all worship something.
Yes.
You
Yep.
you get to choose. You
Yes.
want to worship something that fulfills you and carries you to what I like to refer to as the highest realm of possibilities.
Right.
Or do you want to worship something that's going to
Yeah.
destroy you and everything?
So, yeah. Well said, because at one point you know, alcohol and craziness was what I worshiped. That was first, you know, that was my higher power.
Yeah.
And then God became my higher power. And boy, have I been missing out for 36 years. Good Lord.
Wow. You got so many more ahead. So
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm on the other side.
So we've got United Against Poverty. You've got Broken Chains.
Yeah, Breaking Chains is
Breaking Chains Recovery Church.
We just started a men's ministry. So the women meet on Monday nights at the Old Freedom Church across from the courthouse. Women meet on Monday, men meet on Tuesday. So we just launched the men's ministry last month. And that's just, it's not Bible study, it's not AA, it's Christian based, and it is for women or men, whatever, empowering each other. So you can learn who you are in God's eyes, that we are all forgiven. And just loving on each other and having a support and having a network of people that will guide you. You know, there's so many ages, creation. There's no two kind. You know, I know the women's, there's as old as 87, maybe 90, to the youngest being 18. There's 3 women's Oxford houses. So if you get us all together and we can all, it's networking. You know, it's a whole new life.
And I keep saying I'm going to visit.
Yeah, we have some, this last guest speaker that we had, would have been cool for you to come and see. I'll have to pay attention, or you just come any Wednesday.
Yeah,
but yeah,
cool.
It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see 90 people in the same place worshiping, knowing where we all come from. Yeah. And then support system is huge. You know, find your one person. Have somebody to go to that loves you. You know, I'm so fortunate to have Lori. I go to Lori about anything and everything. I know she loves me. I know she's going to give me advice from God, not Lori being my mom, not Lori being my friend, not Lori wanting to save me from a mistake. It is what God would want me to do. And a support system is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. This has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be a part 2.
There should be a part 2.
There will be.
Yeah.
There's more. I have more
Yeah.
questions. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
was awesome.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Yes, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for all that you do for United Against Poverty.
That's
Definitely a huge blessing. I have future plans to open a female sober living house and put a plan together to have a class in my husband's sober living houses. So make it bigger, brand us bigger, make it bigger. Breaking Chains wants to have bigger and a transitional housing. And you're definitely on my curriculum.
good.
You are definitely on my curriculum. My husband asked me, do you think he would come? I said, I think so. I'm almost positive. Lori wants to meet you. She wants to sit
Yeah,
in
I
on
was
it.
like, I need to meet Lori.
She'll be sitting in on the class, this cohort.
Okay.
So-
Oh, terrific.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
great. Great.
So
yeah, I'll be in.
there's a part of you that I need other people to have too, but I don't know how we get in. Just bring them. I'll just bring them.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband sits in.
Perfect.
Miss Lori sits in. Whoever I think can benefit. I've learned so much. I'm so thankful for everything that I've learned from you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Thanks.
Yes.
It gets better.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So part 2.
Part 2.
All right. I love you.
Love you too.
This has been fun.
Yeah. Let's finish with the.
It's water.
It's
It's water.
That's right.